mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. It's alive! It's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremonies, Sam, and I am joined, as always, by Dan from Bleeding Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
12 milkmen is theoretically possible. 13 is silly. Looks like there's one milkman too many.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves logic for you there.
Oh my god. Ha! That's how we're starting today. With
Oh, yeah.
Keanu Reeves' logic.
Keanu Reeves logic. Thank you.
The episode is doomed. It's doomed. Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Monsters Up North podcast. This week we have a 90s treat for you.
An acid trip from the 90s.
Did this actually happen movie?
It most certainly did, yeah.
It did. We're doing Freaked.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say about it, but I got it. But
have you?
I might do. I will do the disclaimer, and then we will crack open this monster file. Sure. Everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our socials. You can actually join the Nerdy Up North Discord, or come in the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
Again, honestly, kids, don't be a dick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you doing ASMR? No. Ew.
It's gross, isn't it? Start tapping things.
Oh, don't.
Horrible, isn't it?
Don't.
It's
Oh,
not-
it's awful. Why would
I
they?
don't get why people want to listen to other people eat. Can I just be honest with that? That's no.
No, nah. No, thank you. No, thank
I'm
you.
out. Thank
No,
you.
I don't do it. And the lip smacking and the right. Oh, back on track.
Next.
Oh, Freaked is the 1993 comedy horror film directed by Tom Stern and Alex Winter, both of whom wrote the screenplay with Tim Burns. Starring Alex Winter, the great Randy Quaid, William Sandler, Bobcat Goldthwait, and, I can't believe I'm saying this, Mr. T.
Pity the fool.
He definitely did pity some fools in this. Come do the freaky thing this week as Monsters Up North opens a new monster file with Freaked.
Can we shut it now? Should we shut it?
Genuine tagline. Come
Yeah.
do the freaky thing this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This movie exists is the thing. I generally thought Dan was taking the piss when she mentioned it.
No, it's a thing. It exists, but
Yeah.
it's right. I'm going to preface this by saying, if you remember the movies, and I'm not comparing it, I'm just trying to give you a roundabout idea of where we are, right?
Mhm.
If you're looking at Airplane, Naked Gun, it's kind of got Dracula Dead and Loving It. I know they're all Leslie Nielsen movies, but that's not my intention because that's not who's in this. But they have a certain pacing, and the comedy is done very much like that, and it's very much like very fast. Like
You miss it.
yeah,
You don't.
yeah. So I mean, the way that everything at the beginning of the 90s was made, it was very hard hit, like not hard hitting, but they were very shortcut jokes, and then on to the next one, and then on to the next one, and
Yeah.
on to the next one. Because where we are now with TikToks, it's very similar. Like you're feeding for information continuously. So what this was just battering you with sheer nonsense for an hour and a half. So
Sheer 90s nonsense.
yeah, it's a fever dream, but not in the same way as The Fanatic. This is something that reminds me of like Garbage Pail Kids on crack. It's and like I know that there is an existing movie of the Garbage Pail Kids. It had Anthony Newley in it. I'm very well aware of it, being a very big Garbage Pail Kid connoisseur myself. But this had that feel to it, the way they made Alex look, the way that I don't know,
Yeah.
it had that kind of like their stupid names, and it was very much in keeping of riding on the coat, like on the back of all that sort of stuff, like coming out of. It wasn't as un-PC as I remember it though. I was when I sat down and started watching it, I was like, oh crap, I hadn't even thought about like how if this was
The
going to be
difference. Yeah.
if there was going to be this huge, great big disparity
No.
between this and that and how we talk about things. And then I thought, no, Keanu and Alex aren't
They're
really
not.
kind of that way
No.
inclined. So
No, no, not at all. I'll say this outright: this movie is absolutely batshit crazy. And the minute I put it on, to be honest, the opening titles, I could imagine me back then
yeah,
being all over the opening titles. It is very much a movie of a generation. It is the MTV generation. It is the Freddie got fingered, finding
yeah,
that fucking hilarious. Dude, where's my car? Like that's kind of level of humor. However, the the genius part of this movie is the makeup,
the makeup, the
the
soundtrack,
prosthetic.
the claymation. There is so much in
Yes,
this that is of
it's
I don't
so it's so advanced. It doesn't it's like I don't want to say this in a harsh way because I don't want to be totally harsh on this movie, but it's like this isn't the movie for this work. This should
know.
have been done. This should have been this right here. Let's take Alex Winter, for example, and his prosthetics. That could be used in something completely different and it would work. Like I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly, but it's just it felt wasted in this movie.
And I'll tell you for why. Not a lot of people know this movie. This is one of them, probably the most rarest film I think we've covered, really, in the grand scheme of things. Like,
I would definitely say so.
and it's the reason behind it is it had a huge budget. It was 1993, so you're coming off the back of Bogus Journey. So you've had Excellent Adventure. Bogus Journey, I think, was 90. I might be wrong, or we're either coming up to Bogus or we've just had Bogus. So you've had William Sadler, Keanu, and Alex working together before, I think, right? So you're coming out of the success of these massive movies. So the studio have gone, right, here you go, 12 million. There's your budget. Make us something.
Yeah.
Alex has gone away and made this absolute bonkers acid trip of a movie, and they've gone, this is fantastic, this is what we were looking for, it's based off the little MTV clips that have been done, and la 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 la. Lovely.
Yeah.
We're sticking it
Yeah.
in theaters, we're popping it in a theater. It made 29,000 in the theaters.
Yeah.
12 million budget, made 29,000 back. This is one of those movies that has ended up becoming a cult movie because it was so insanely edited, directed. You can't not recognize the
Yeah.
amount of work that went into this movie.
That's so true. That is exactly that. If I could take anything away from that, it's the dedication that was put into that movie. So the film was actually under the working title Hideous Mutant Freaks and was conceived around the time that when Winter and Stern had directed the 1988 Barbecue movie, a short film that featured music featuring the music of experimental rock band. You ready for this?
Yep.
Butthole
The Butthole
Surfers.
Surfers, yeah.
Yeah,
Butthole Surfers are huge. Well, they were huge
yeah.
in the 90s.
Apparently,
So
so they kind of like, along with the Butthole Surfers frontman, they worked on the draft of the script, and it was kind of envisioned around that time. There was a few things that went wrong in production, like they were in production because the studio that they were with, and now I'm not reading this from my notes. I'm reading this in something I picked. picked up the other day. That the studio halfway through was bought out by another studio who then came in and went, "What in the fuck is this?"
Yes, what are we
and
paying for?
cut the budget.
Yeah.
I hope
Most,
to God they got. I hope to God they got like their money's worth.
yeah,
Like,
I mean the budget got cut because the expense went on, believe it or not, the expense went on hiring Mr. T and hiring the prosthetics, obviously. That was the most
yeah,
expensive, and the set. If you look at the set up into the freak show bit, very unassuming, very blah. And the jokes that are in the plane are a little bit inappropriate, but when you look at them, they're very similar to the airplane jokes and stuff like that. You know, it's got that kind of vibe to it.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
the set work that went into where Randy Quaid becomes where you find out he's like the circus ringleader type dude of this freak show. That's where all the money was, the money was spent there
You
and on
could
the
tell.
prosthetics. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
you could absolutely tell. It wasn't a studio takeover. It was Joel Roth, who was the head of 20th Century Fox, who fucking loved this film, who gave them the 20 million budget.
yeah.
He was very famously fired by Rupert Murdoch, who then replaced him with Peter Cherrin, who went, "What is this?" Absolutely not. And it does have a detrimental effect on the movie, the budget cuts, not just in respect to, having to downplay makeup or whatever. They had to cut a lot of stuff out. So there's a lot of things that actually, if you are paying close attention, don't actually make sense because they're no longer there. But the editing was as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't do well in test screenings either.
No,
But they went
I
ahead. They
think
went ahead with it anyway.
I think then at that point they were at the point of no return. 12 million at that in the 1993 was a lot of money to invest on a kind of
Well,
whimsical idea, shall we
yeah.
say?
Well, Canada got it. Canada got the joke because it was test screened in America. They didn't like it. Didn't get it. Test screened in the Toronto Film Festival. They got it. They understood it. They found it funny. They appreciated the artwork that went
Yeah.
into it. Took it back to America with that kind of like high, and they're like, "No, really, we really don't like this."
It is very. I can't even put my finger on how you can even describe this film. The jokes are dad jokey, but
Oh yeah.
they're not like offensive. And the gist of this movie is that it's loosely based around a freak show, but the guy creates his own freaks, and they're just people that happen to stop by for
Yeah,
whatever.
they're just punters. They're literally
And
just punters.
he, it's just bizarre, like how this whole film comes together. How they refer to the small ginger child with the big ears that looks like that kid off the magazine,
The
the
Mad
Magazine.
magazine, yeah.
Yeah, and they literally
Ricky.
modeled him off of that, and they called him the troll for the first half of the film, and then he was not given his real name until he became the troll. And I
Yeah,
was
it was Morgan Fairchild who was like, "Is this your troll up in here?"
it was,
Child.
and then like I love the idea of all the board being puppets. Like
Yes.
it was, and then how Deep Roy's in it. Like
Yeah, that scene had me. I'm not gonna lie, it did generally have us in stitches because he changed ethnicity 5 times.
yeah, and he's he kept calling him Juan Valdez or George Ramirez or like he never called him the
He
same name
cut,
twice.
yeah, and then he kept going, "No, my name is George Ramirez."
Yeah,
All right, one, calm down. Like
yeah.
he would not respond to his actual name. For all this, got shit canned by the studio, the heads, and the fact the American public didn't get it. It did actually win two big awards. It went on to win the grand prize of the 1955 go no German. I can't even say it. Gerardmer. Germanometer.
Give me a second. Where are we?
Oh God, this is what 10 hours in the office gets you. Me and my terrible pronunciation.
Sorry.
Jeremidia.
Beg your
Grandme.
pardon? You can get a tablet for that. I'm just trying to bring it up. It's not playing ball, but
Okay, it was a film festival. But it was for best actor for the creatures of the film. So all the creature makeup got recognized in this award. And then in 1984, they won Fanta Festival. The film was also nominated for a Saturn Award for best makeup. So that's pretty cool.
got it. The Gerardmer Film Festival.
Gerardmer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to preface this by starting with the special effects guys because I think that's where we have to start. I don't think there's any other option here.
I
You
agree.
are talking pedigree here. You're talking Screaming Mad George, right? And when I saw that come up, I went, now this movie makes perfect sense. 100%.
Yes.
Screaming Mad George is a force to be reckoned with. People
Tell
don't
us about
know
it.
his name so much. Some do, some don't have a clue that this guy's provenance is insane. He worked on Predator, Reanimator, Spaceballs. He is most famous for Society, which is a film that I am still not sure if Samuel ever want to do, but it's the body horror, most absolutely another batshit movie.
You've just said body horror, and my whole body just went.
He worked on my favourite Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. He did Big Trouble in Little China. He also did The Abyss with James Cameron. Now, a little known fact is that he's also done a very, very popular video for a certain band that has had a bit of a resurgence due to Deadpool and Wolverine. And the song that he did the music video for, he did some prosthetic work and makeup work in the video for, is What Tomorrow Is. It's gotta be May.
Shut up.
Very Mad George did makeup effects in NSYNC's It's Gotta Be Me video. And I found that out today and I was like, I have to fact check this. And I fact checked it and it's real. He did. He doesn't always go under Screaming Mad George though. He does go under his own name sometimes.
He does.
Yeah.
He looks like an absolute character.
Oh, he does. I love him when he's interviewed on if you've ever seen in Darkness, I can't
Into
remember.
the Darkness.
He's interviewed.
I'm watching the third one at the minute.
Yeah.
It's 5 hours long, guys.
Yeah, he's interviewed on that a couple of times and he just looks like an absolute loon. I know
looks amazing.
His favorite film is, I can never say the first bit, so I'm going to say the Iron Man, but it's the Tiazzo, where the guy it's a Japanese movie.
Yeah.
The guy who's like a human magnet and he ends up attracting and like becoming like a metal man.
All right.
And he becomes one with the metal and it is absolutely, it's a masterclass in special effects work. And I can't remember, I don't think he worked on that, but I feel like I know he talks about it a lot in any interview he's done. So
maybe inspiration.
Yeah,
inspired by it.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a massive. He's been in 3 bands.
Yes. Eyeball, Fried Egg, Transmutation.
Because why not?
Brilliant names. My favorite fact on Mad George is the masks. If you're a Slipknot fan like I am, he did the masks for Iowa and Volume 3. Now I know Tom Savini has gone on to do. I don't know if he did all the rest, but he definitely did Corey's because I remember the whole unmasked, the reveal of it and everything. Like it was a big thing. But then I've always appreciated Slipknot's masks, even the first ones, even the shitty dreadlocky Corey Taylor one at the beginning. I've always appreciated the work that went into the masks and the idea behind it as well. I love it. Slipknot's one of my favorite bands of all time. But yeah, the scope on this man, the work. What did he do for Predator? I didn't actually look into it. Did he?
It was makeup effects. That's all it said.
Right.
So I don't know how much he had. I don't think he was creature design. But I think he was either application.
Yeah.
Might have been like, obviously, Predator itself was based in the jungle, so you've got army guys versus one predator. So there's
Versus
not as much in
this
that as there would have
predator.
been, say, especially say in the second one where it was more based in the town. You had the bodies being skinned. There was a lot more.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I know. I'm
love
aware there was a
that.
little bit of that in this, but
Yeah, I love that. The second one. Yeah, Danny Glover and that is more. Also, just to sidetrack for just a second, I watched the trailer for the new Predator.
I'd
I
literally just watched it.
I don't actually mind it. I think that's a female predator or a baby predator.
It's supposed to be an unblooded. Um, so he has to go and do. I don't know if the whole story is based around him. I don't really know anything about it because it was a teaser trailer. I'm not
Uh-huh.
keen on the look, and I was discussing with Creature, who features on our Predator episode. If you want to go
Please
back,
go and watch it. It's
and
so good. It's such a good episode.
he is a font of all knowledge, and he was here.
Hmm.
And, like, we literally sat down and watched it about 2 hours ago, and he said, "You haven't seen it yet," and I said, "No." So I sat down and watched it with him, and he had a point that I hadn't really thought about what was setting me off with
Hmm.
the look of the new one. It's the hairline.
Right.
All the predators have straight hairlines that are halfway back of the head, and their hair is either always back and down behind the
Example.
but that it comes out and it's always down, whereas this one has a hairline. It's got a widow's peak. And
Oh,
the
okay.
eyes are very centered. They seem more human. So there's my thought on this now, seeing the trailer, is there's a possibility that it might be following on in some respect. I'm not saying they're using the storyline at all, but the Predator, the Shane Black Predator that he recently did,
Yeah.
where they were talking about the splicing of the humans with the predators, and
Oh,
they
Shane Black.
yeah um where they did the splicing, and then obviously the assassin had to come down and get rid of it because it was empathizing too much with the humans because it had human genomes and all that stuff. But I feel like this might be years and years and years of evolution within a predator to make it like that.
Yeah.
However, don't like it. I'm going to be completely honest, and it's not because it's not the traditional predator we're used to looking at, because we
Yeah.
proved with Prey that you don't have to look conventional
No,
and it
and that
still
was
works.
so good. So
Even though
good.
I'm still not a fan of the way that one looked, I understood its place, obviously, once you've seen the film, and that might be the case with this one. But I just feel like you are ignoring the fans. If you're going to do a franchise that is as big as Predator and as big as Alien and as
Yeah,
big as
and
these movies,
we're gonna watch them. We are gonna watch them.
it goes with everything. It goes with the Scream, the Conjuring, all the massive franchises that are there. Listen to the fans. You want them to come buy your tickets. You want them not to blast your movie. You saw what happened with Sonic, right? They bullied you into fucking redesigning the whole animation
Yeah.
because it looks so shit.
Yeah.
So this is a Disney run thing, 20th Century Fox.
Oh yeah, forgot
So
about that.
the money's there to go back
Yeah.
and fiddle with it, but I don't feel like they will. I feel like because it's Disney, they will just go, nah, that's what you're getting.
And you will
And
like it. You will
yeah, and
like
I
it.
feel that because this isn't being released, Badlands isn't being released until November, I
Yeah.
feel like there may be, because Alien Earth is being like released within
Oh yeah.
summer. It's summer. So there may be an explanation for why you have a bot in one of the Fannings, Ellie Dakota, whichever fucking Fanning it is that's in this
She looked interesting.
Badlands. She's very much Ash. She's very much Bishop.
Hmm.
So I feel like they're going to tie the Weyland-Yutani thing through maybe Alien Earth to get to there, but I don't think it's going to be a connecting story. I just think it might set up some bits for the film because there seems to be these two coming out this year, and I'm hoping it will explain a bit more because
Yeah.
that's one ugly motherfucker.
I just want some fucking predator fights, man. Just fucking come on. Sorry, that just like literally came to my mind, and I was like, I want to mention that now. That little predator thing, me little plushie. I have had him for about 20 years. He's always like I've always had him like on a desk, and Binks is trying to fight him now. Yeah, I wanted to. just because I saw Predator and I was like, oh yeah, I saw that. Where were we? Special effects people. So we
Yeah,
had Screaming Mad George, who like, wow, Guyver, guys, he did Guyver.
yeah.
He directed Guyver actually. Did he direct Guyver? Did I just read that right? Did he direct Guyver? Yeah, he did. He directed the Guyver, which Anthony made me watch. It was interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, interesting film.
Steve,
Um,
Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson is also the makeup. I can't
oh
remember the
shit,
makeup supervisor.
Species.
Yeah, and he was most famously married to. She's up there, Liana Quigley. He was married to Trash from Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, you lucky, lucky man.
Yeah, for a long time in the 90s. So when this film was made, he was married to her.
Oh my God.
But he's got a hell of a track record for
Oh,
monster movies as well. He's also won 2 Emmys for his movies, for his work. He's worked on Spider-Man 2, Stargate. The guy, he knows what
um,
he's doing.
um,
Right?
let's just stop for a goddamn second. He did Slimer.
He did.
He
Yep.
created Slimer.
Yes, he did.
Um,
Steve has a hell of back record. He's been nominated for so many awards. He is one of the most underrated special effects artists out there because he just doesn't have, unless you're in the business, I don't feel like you know the name.
no, I fully understand that.
Yeah,
And I feel like I'm learning a lot more of the makeup artist now, and I'm starting to recognize names because
yeah,
instantly on his page of his influences, it's people we've spoke about before. Obviously, the legend that is Jack Pierce
yeah.
and Dick Smith and Rick Baker and Rob Bottin. So I'm starting to like recognize these names. So he is a name I will not forget.
But you
Um,
see the influence of Jack Pierce.
yeah.
It's because of what happens with Keanu Reeves in this movie.
Oh
It's
wow. Oh
the
my
Jack
God.
Pierce influence is very much there for that. So
Yeah, yes. And the minute I saw it, I was like, Jack, if you can hear me, that is how you do Voltaire. Right there, on his face. On his face, even though he's a dog, but on his face.
yeah,
Yeah. He
I
is
mean,
completely unrecognizable. He's not even credited in this movie, by the way. So if you're looking to find Keanu Reeves's name for whatever reason, you ain't gonna find it because he ain't credited in it. He did it as a favor.
yes, and there is somebody else that features in this movie that's also uncredited that anybody who is a horror nerd will know this man. We've talked
Mm.
about him a lot on this film. He played a biker in the one of the popcorn bikers in the scene. He is now a manager for the majority of the horror community. His name is Mr. Sean Clark.
Oh my God, Sean Clark's in this.
Sean Clark's in this. It's a it's an uncredited, very small role, but he is in this.
Oh my God, I have literally been watching a lot of Sean's videos
Yeah,
recently because he's been doing some collabs with Scott on Tape
yeah,
and Adam the Woo and Grim Life, Michael from Grim Life, and they've been doing these collab videos and they're just it's phenomenal seeing these like guys who like the knowledge between all four of them is just ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, Sean himself, like I say, I've had many conversations with Sean in real life over the years, and he's a font of knowledge, and he's someone that you find so bloody interesting that you don't want
Yeah,
to say, like, please don't go. I'm having a lovely time talking about stuff.
yeah.
But you
I
feel like you don't want to like, and he's come to our stall and had these chats because
um
he owns one of our mini poltergeist clowns.
that's
Um,
right.
and I know I've said that story before, but yeah, he used to be Norman Reedus' manager, and then I don't know what happened. Norman moved on, or Sean moved on to more of the horror
So
community.
what does
But
he actually do, Sean? Like what is his like main sorry me,
his
I'm just
main
grabbing a
job
book.
is management. He has a
Right.
management team, company where he is a convention manager for Mr. Spencer Charnas. He is
Oh, oh.
he's a convention management for a small bunch of people: Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, Jamie Kennedy, You know, those tiny
Just,
little
yeah,
actors.
just them little folk in the
Yeah,
back.
can't really talk about them too much, but yeah, he's the guy's got a roster like as long as your arm of people that are insanely talented and have been on your screen for at least the last 30 years. This guy knows what he's doing and he knows his shit. He's also got the Thing with Two Heads podcast,
Yeah,
which
yes.
I think they probably might end up doing something about that because I think it's Chris that's on Thing with Two Heads with him. Chris is
Hmm.
actually going to be a guest at For the Love of Horror this year. So I think there might be a live podcast. I wouldn't put it past them to do a live podcast there at some point.
No, I wouldn't, given the dead meat are going to be there.
Yeah.
So let's just see. No, do you know what I find about Sean when I'm watching him? I feel like he's a person who will not patronize you or like the whole gaslighting of like, well, I know more than you do. I
Yeah.
feel like he's there to, well, I know this, so I want you to know this.
Yeah, I feel like he's very much as well. He likes to impart his wisdom, but he also likes to
Yeah,
hear
that's what
what
I was.
you know. He likes to hear what you know as well. Like,
Yeah, like he was the way that he interacts with like these mega. I know they're not mega stars, but in my world they are. Like they are my YouTube watchers. Like I watch Scott on Tape religiously, and Michael as well from Grim Life. Adam not so much anymore. Adam the Woo. He's more like he does dark touristy stuff, but I find Scott and Michael's more relatable to me.
yeah,
Um,
I watched just a one that I think people should go and watch. I don't know whether it was a collab between Scott and Grim Life, but they go to Kurt Cobain's house, the last house he had. There's a video
it's
where
Scott's. Yeah, it's
yeah,
Scott's.
and I think Michael collabed on it, or there was something I remember
I think they
that
did
unless they
one.
did the video to say at the
They've
same
done
time.
one
Yeah.
very similar, but I think Scott is with someone in that video. But it's oh gosh,
But they
it's
got to go in the house, and Scott does
yeah.
like he doesn't just do look, here's a graveyard and this is the tombstone. He goes into a
No,
lot
it's
more than
so
that. So
respectful.
I feel like Scott on Tape is someone that is kind
S-
of underrated.
Oh, hugely. Scott reminds me so much of punk rock in the 90s, like
It's the
doing
shaved
just
head with the tiny,
yeah.
tiny little mohawk.
I love the look, but Scott is so respectful. Stories that I would never ever have heard of come from Scott, and it's not like they're not like it's just
Salacious. They're not like scandalous.
yeah, yes.
They're nice
There's
stories.
there was also one that really affected us in a way that I didn't expect because not from a Scott video because you know what you're getting from Scott and you know how respectful he is and how these things they affect him, like they have a huge effect on him, and he openly talks about it and works his way through it. But there was one with it was a murder of a man who it was a hate crime and it was a black man who was dragged from one side of a road 3 miles down the other side, and it's a huge story, and I'm sorry that I'm doing it completely disjustice, but it really hit me in a way like I was like, oh God, Scott, please. Like I want to just give him a big hug. You could see the weight of him trying to explain the story. And these stories do need to be told. These people do need to be, live on and have a reminder. But yeah, Scott on Tape, go and watch him. I'm just looking at
The
excuse
cast list
me.
is kind of underrated because there's another guy on there that people know that he has been in a massive franchise. And I
Yeah.
mean, absolutely insane this guy's back history when you start looking into it, but no one knows his name. So if I was to say to you Lee Arenberg, you wouldn't know who Lee Arenberg was.
No,
But
I'm
if I
gonna
was to
Google it.
say to you the words, hello, Poppet, you know exactly who Lee Arenberg is.
Oh my God.
Lee Arenberg was the
Yes.
internal flame. He was the
Yes.
internal flame in this. So he is, for those of you that might not even know who hello, Poppet, where that comes from, it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
He plays the sidekick to Mackenzie Crook. He's that weird looking, terrible British accented pirate dude that you kind of dislike, but you don't dislike at the same time.
Well,
And
Star
um,
Trek fans will know him.
yeah, yeah, the guy, go back, go look at his IMDb. It's insane what this man has done. And the fact that he also, the rumor has it there was a big hoo-ha with Mr. T on set because I think he just got so scared what this film was going to do to his career, which I
Yeah.
kind of understand in one way, because you have to look at it with 90s eyes, right? Even though there was not one thing in that that made me think any different of Mr. T, not at all. I think he handled it well. They edited it really well. They dealt with the
Really well.
subject matter really fucking well for the 90s. But he freaked out and he left set early, and they had one scene where they had to have a guy come in when they were in the cage and do this doubling, and it turns out that Lee had to impersonate Mr. T's voice for that scene so that they could get it finished to be able to move on.
Yeah.
And Lee is a very underrated actor, very underrated like not only a comedy actor but a character actor. So
Yeah.
I feel like people need to go and give him a bit more.
Oh,
Maybe.
No, absolutely. I've just found it. I knew I'd seen what you were talking about there. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. So according to his Instagram, a certain jackass
Uh-huh.
was a stand-in for the photo double for Keanu Reeves on this movie. That's right. Johnny Knoxville was the stand-in artist for Keanu Reeves. Because again, Keanu is doing this as a favor.
Yeah.
This is just you're my friend, I'm here for you. What is brilliant about Keanu's performance, not only the makeup, because the makeup, we'll go through next the makeup that's in here. It's the voice. When did Keanu learn to talk like that?
He doesn't sound like Keanu. The thing about Keanu Reeves is people know him as being 69, dude. Or they know him as being sort of like very much like
Wild
very
Stallions. Oh, hang on. What's his
as Neo. He's very stoic as Neo. There's no
I know Kung Fu.
or there's like, for me, you've got Johnny Mnemonic. You've got I know the bigger picture because I used to watch a lot of Keanu Reeves movies. Point Break,
Speed.
Speed. You know, the guy, he can act. I just think he was typecast for a very, very long time.
And his range is not the best thing about Keanu is that he is being Keanu right now. Like his whole John Wick thing, like fucking let him do it, because when he is on, he is fucking on. It's some of the voice choices. Why they wouldn't just let him be him in Dracula, I will never ever know. Why they couldn't just Kevin Costner the shit out of it and just say, right, just go with your accent, because it would have. We wouldn't be talking about his accent as an English accent anymore. We wouldn't.
I think he was between filming. I think he was finishing up Dracula for reshoots. He was also filming Point Break at that point, or he'd just finished Point Break. I think there were so many movies going on.
He was so busy in the 90s, wasn't he?
Because he was coming off of the back of obviously they both were. I had a look. Bogus Journey was 91, so I was right. This is 93. So
yeah,
William Sadler, who played Death in Bogus Journey, and the boys had worked together before. And William Sadler had obviously played Hans Gruber's cousin, brother, donkey, dog.
I sunk your battleship.
I will always say God Gave Rock and Roll to You. That is the best version I've ever heard of. I went out and I bought the 7-inch because I got so giddy listening to it, thinking it was them singing, and it wasn't, but still it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's so good. The three of them went on, they've worked together in the Bill and Ted's. But if you are unfamiliar with William Sandler, he is also in, if you are a Frank Darabont fan, you will know that he is a Frank Darabont actor, and he has been in The Green Mile and Shawshank.
Yes. And Frank also did the Blob remake.
He did. We love Frank Darabont.
Yeah,
I love Frank Darabont. If it's a Frank Darabont film, I know I'm in for a good time.
And also, didn't he direct the first couple of episodes of the first season of The Walking Dead? Frank had something to do with it.
First two.
Yeah.
So when Frank left is when Dale left, because Dale was one of his actors.
Yeah, one of his boys.
So one of his boys. So when Frank left, I think he got
He's in The Green Mile as well, Dale, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's again Frank Darabont actor. I think there was like a big massive like sacking of this, like, and it was like done dirty by EMC. This is a long time ago, so I could be, the memory isn't as what it, I would like to say the memory is what it was, but my memory's fucking fucking terrible and always has been. So yeah, where was I? Proved my
The
point there, haven't I? The
Yeah, William
makeup.
Sadler. William Sadler.
Oh, so
You
William
clearly know
Sadler.
about him, yeah. Billy Sadler has got a fantastic reputation to work with that I
Yes.
can tell. He also famously does that nude scene in the Die Hard film where he's got his back. You know, he plays Hans Gruber's cousin brother. Like I said, I can't remember. He's related to him, and I think it's Die Hard 2 or 3 that he's in, and he plays the bad guy. And there's the infamous scene in the hotel room where he's got the towel on and then he whips it off and he's just showing his back and he's all ripped and muscly and it's insane. But
Well, I'll be watching Die Hard 2 at the weekend.
I think it's 2, it might be 3. To be honest, when they
I only ever watched the first one now.
got to Get Hard or whatever that one was called, I'm just like, I've lost
That's
all.
what she said.
Yeah, that's got some Michael Scott nonsense all over that one. So
100%. I've always appreciated his performances. I love him. Green Mile, he isn't in it for very long. He plays the dad of the two girls. But obviously Shawshank, he's in that quite a bit. I'm on obviously we all know I'm on the Stephen King kind of ride, but I'm also on a Stephen King movie ride as well. And I had a couple in mind over the weekend. I made some bad choices at the weekend, and probably should have just stuck with what I know. I should have watched The Green Mile again for the 100 millionth time and Shawshank Redemption, but I didn't. I made some poor choices that I don't really want to. I'm not going to get into again because I'll end up losing me absolute shit. Um, what was I going to say? Makeup,
yes.
the actual makeup. The minute so the movie starts, I don't feel like we need to go through the whole movie because
There isn't much to go through, really.
no, really no. But at the beginning of the movie, you've got Brooke Shields. Yeah, Brooke Shields, who, by the way, I've been watching a bit of SVU recently, and
She
Brooke
takes
Shields has
good
been in
fun
it.
at herself in this film. I love the way
She,
she takes the piss out of herself in this film. And it's
yeah,
kind of unintentionally. Like when they cut to that break and he says something about, oh yeah, I was watching Blue Lagoon and she just went, I heard that was terrible.
Blue Lagoon 2, The
Yeah, that was it.
Return or something, The
Electric
Return to
Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, she said, no, I think that was terrible.
Yeah.
I just feel like Brooke Shields plays Brooke Shields playing Brooke Shields. Like there's no from her from her friends that are, bearing in mind, I have not seen a lot of Brooke Shields things, so I'm only basing this on a handful of stuff. But from Friends, SVU to this, it was the same person.
Yeah, she's not exactly multi-talented. Basically, I say she fell into that role, but when she was in Blue Lagoon, it was such a controversial film. It shot her into famedom. So she could have acted like a cardboard box, and I don't think it would have made any difference because of the subject matter of the movie, with it being ancestral and the whole
Was it?
what if that could happen.
Okay.
Yeah, the
I've
basic,
never seen it.
from what I can remember, Blue Lagoon is either a brother and sister or
They
cousin.
were?
Yeah, it's something like that. They get washed up on a beach and they get like, or something happens where they get stranded. Can't remember. It's been a long time. And it's her and her cousin brother. And basically incest happens because they've been there for so long. And it's like the subject matter it was like very Flowers in the Attic without without the abuse.
Cousins. They were cousins.
Yeah. So, cousin brother. And the gist of it was because it was incestual and it was very controversial at the time, it shot them to fame, both of them, quite quickly. And like I said, she could have acted like a cardboard box, but I think that's what shot her into the stratosphere.
Yeah, I know. I know. There's been a documentary that she's done recently with regards to, and I can't dive into it or claim to know much about it. I just remember a lot of press around it. I think it's the treatment and
Yeah, there was a lot
such
of it.
that came afterwards. Yeah, I don't get us wrong. I have no opinion on Brooke Shields. Like I don't like or dislike her. It's Brooke Shields. She's very, very beautiful, and she was very, very beautiful in this. But when you see this, the point I was getting to was the silhouette
Yeah.
of Alex Winter to start with, and I'm like, oh, okay, where are we going with this? It's when you get to see him first, when it's like, duh, he's there. If I had to pause it
What, in
to
the
have a
meeting?
Yeah, when you see Alex Winter's face for the first time, I had to pause it to have a look at the detail that is in that mush.
Right.
Holy crap.
You basically get to see him as his childhood star character
Oh my
first.
God, he's such
They
a
had
dick,
established
isn't
he's a
he?
dick. Yeah, and uh, again, remember this 1987 we had Lost Boys Alex. 19, and then we had the party on dude Alex, and now we're having
Absolutely.
this dick of a guy.
He's
He
so
gives off
Johnny
Johnny Bravo.
Bravo. Johnny was gonna say Johnny
Yeah.
Bravo. He's so Johnny Bravo. It's
It's the
the
teeth and how he talks. And
how
like he has
beautiful
this
his
thing about how he articulates his lips, but he doesn't move his teeth. It's very fucking weird.
how beautiful are his teeth though.
Oh, fantastic.
He got good teeth.
And they establish basically that he has a Klingon friend. Who wouldn't? That it's Hollywood. And his Klingon friend is that kind of jackassian
Oh,
twat
he's a
that
proper
you
dick.
you know, like proper jock that
Yeah.
if they were at university in a college in America, he would be that frat boy that everybody fucking hated,
Yeah.
You're introduced with him and he's got a mannequin hand in his trousers and he's literally hitting this poor woman around the face with it whilst it's trapped in his trousers. And I was just like, so
Yep.
this is the tone.
Yep.
We've
This
established
is
it.
where we're heading with this. Yeah, he was a bit of a dickhead, but he kind of gets his comeuppance with his um or with Randy Quaid's creation of him.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid, holy shit. Give me House of a Thousand Corpses vibes in that opening scene when you first meet him. I'm like, hang on, where the fuck is Captain Spaulding?
And do you know what? I didn't really get, I kind of get where you're coming from at the beginning, but I didn't get it until there's about I think it might be the end scene, where they do the last show.
Yeah,
He wears an outfit that looks so much like Captain Spaulding's outfit, the white with the stripes. I'm not talking about the common one with the t-shirt underneath. Not the t-shirt underneath. He had like a shirt like
yeah.
Dennis Quest, but it was something about the white suit. It really gave off Spaulding to me. As soon as I saw that, I was
Oh,
like, ah.
I was getting it from the minute I was like, where's the Ferris ride? Where is like
It gave
where
off like crazy, kind of like a bit
you give
Jeffrey
off Randy
Combsy to
Quaid?
me. Yeah, I got Jeffrey Combs, but then he had to get in the line about a shitter.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay, so
Yeah. Randy Quaid is famously known for just going off the deep end. Um, but
mm,
he plays a fantastic part in this. I got like you gotta hand Randy Quaid he's dues on this. He was I thought he was really good. But to look at Alex's face, I am looking at a picture now of Alex having the prosthetic work put onto him. That is so we've talked about before with makeup when people have been affected with a full face of makeup.
yeah,
Alex has probably a harder job because half of his face is totally fine, but the rest of it is it's very mutated. As in, I don't really know how to describe it because it's almost alien. It's almost like what you would have as an alien makeup.
yeah.
I don't know how to describe that, but it kind of like comes round his face and up his side.
And it drags down one side of his mouth because that was very, very clever how they managed to disguise one half of his mouth. I find sometimes they can't quite get that right, and you can see I
Yeah,
can't describe what I mean, but you can see that it's off. The mouth is off. The way that they designed his
it
prosthetics to cover his teeth, to be able to get him to speak, even though we know he ended up having to be dubbed because he was dribbling so much they couldn't understand what he was saying. And
yeah.
that is all genuine draw. Apparently, anybody
Yeah.
said that when you were standing next to him, you had to.
You had to because you had no choice. So the way that his lips go is kind of like they're normal from one side, but they gradually get bigger to where it spreads across his face, and you are seeing the back end of his teeth.
Yeah,
So really, his movement is coming from the very corner
yeah,
of his face, and the rest of it is just taken over. He hats off to him
yeah.
for doing him and I know he's not in it all the time, but for I'd say at least 70% of the movie he is in this prosthetic. He even does Shakespeare.
Yeah, and then I love it when it cuts to the guy in the audience and they're like Oxford like tutor, and there's a guy saying something along the lines of, "We're going to dumb it down with subtitles for the thick people." And it was
I am dead.
it's just like
And then it would wait for ages and then it'll go, I am alone.
I
It's
like
so good.
I also like the bit where he stood up and he was like, "So anybody that will get easily offended, we're giving you the option to leave now." And then the couple got up and they were clutching their pearls and they walked out. And that was Alex dressed as one of the guys. And I thought that was
Yes,
brilliant.
it,
That
it
was
was also his partner as well, his
Tom
directorial writing
Stern.
partner.
Yeah, Tom Stern, I
Yeah,
think it was.
yeah, them two did that part. Um, Other monsters that you get to see is, oh gosh, where do I even start? Um,
Nosy,
which one?
nosy. That was a hell of a
Nosy.
nosy was the giant nose.
Oh
And
my God, right, yeah, I don't even know why I asked.
it was absolutely insane because it was his entire face was just a nose, and you had the guy's mouth. You had this much from the bottom of his natural nose to your chin that he was able to talk out of.
Do you know
Um,
what that reminds me of?
but it worked.
It so works. That kind of like reminds me of like Baron Munchausen like
Yeah, very
style
much.
of yeah. That's the kind of makeup I'm getting from it. The Worm. We get a man who is
Yeah,
he is very very posh,
yeah.
but he is kind of like he's a bit of a storyteller because he's the one who fills the gaps in of like what is actually going on because like Dan mentioned earlier. Randy Quaid, the crazy bastard that he is running his own circus, but creating his own freaks by people who have literally just walked through the door to come and see the said circus. And he's creating his own sideshow. And this guy is one of them, but he is he's a friendly. Um, you've then got Mr. T. Who's the bearded lady?
And I will say, there's only one bit where you go, "Oh," and but it passes really really quickly where Randy Quaid, and it's when he establishes how he joined the thing, and he shakes Mr. T's hand, and then Mr. T says to him, "Oh, I want to be who I want to be," and he says, "Have you ever considered not having a dick?" And he looks really angry at him, and then he goes, "You can keep the beard," and then he gives him another cuddle, and it's just like it wasn't quite worded like that, but it was just one of those moments where you're like, "Oh," and then it's gone as quickly as it's come. But that's the only bit that you think to
Yeah,
yourself, I don't know if that was,
that would that's meant to be there or
yeah,
landed
I think,
right or
but I will say he handled that with the writers and Mr.
yeah.
T handled that fantastically. There
Yeah.
was no fake boobs. He wasn't like a
No,
clown. It was
they
Mr.
they
T with a bit of lipstick and eyeshadow on, wearing a nightdress.
how lovely was his lipstick shade? And his eyes, they were done so his beauty makeup is absolutely brilliant.
And when he sat there and he was doing his, and I've done Maria's hair in a side knot, and he was doing his little,
In the French plait.
I was like, tell me more. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
now.
intrigued.
I would like beauty tips by Mr. T, please.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand where his stressing out comes
Yeah.
from because he was a name. He really was a name and he had a reputation to uphold. But to do this initially, like even though like later on he can kind of get himself a bit worried because obviously, but to even agree to this is such a huge thing.
Mhm.
And especially the role that he's doing.
Like
He was at he,
yeah, the amount of like he was known as a tough guy. Mr. T was pity the fool, 18. You know, he was the guy that came in and bashed
he
everybody.
was
And
Club Lang for God's
yeah, I
sake.
mean, that's his image has always been the hard man image. So for him to come in and be soft, it's such a lovely thing to see because you can see he's not just saying all the drugs, kids. You know,
Yeah.
he's not just that
Drugs are
guy.
for fools.
Fools. Um,
Pity the fool. No, I just think it's incredible. I don't know
how
if
he got him to
brave
do
is the
it,
right word.
yeah, I don't know how they got him to do it, but I will take my hat off to them because I think
Yeah,
that was a fantastic
absolutely.
choice. Yeah.
Well done, Mr. T. His buddy and this romantic link that he's that fucking what an activist. I don't know what she's activating against because it sounds like everything. She didn't like
Yeah.
anyone. Them two are conjoined twins. Their stand-up act was quite funny. I actually like the fact that she just kept beating the shit out of him.
Yeah. Well, he deserved it, to be fair. And she
He
deserved it every now and again as well. She was kind of annoying.
he did. We had a cow Can't remember what the
Yes.
cow's name is.
And the
Now,
cowboy, his name is Cowboy.
Cowboy. So I am looking right now at Cowboy's head, the actual head. It is
Definitely.
that. It is a work of art. It looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's the guy just holding the head up like I got cow's head. Yeah, it looks
Have you seen
brilliant.
who played him?
Can I remember the name?
John Hawkes. John Hawkes
John.
might not ring a bell with you, that name, but when you see his
No?
face, you'll be like, fucking hell, he has been in everything. John Hawkes has been in American Gangster, Lost.
Holy shit.
Yep, yep.
Holy hell.
He has been in
Yeah.
so many things, John Hawkes.
Oh my
And he's
God, I
usually
know.
playing like some sort of like, not gangster, that's not right. He's usually like he's typecast as like a goon or a nasty piece of shit, or
He's in Scary Movie.
he is, yeah, as well.
He's in Scary. He's in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mhm.
I'm just listing Rush Hour. I know what you. I still know what you did last summer.
Yeah,
A Perfect Storm. I think you just said that.
yeah, he does.
American
He's been in
Gangster.
so many things. He's that guy that just appears all the time, like.
Yeah, and do you know what? They are the unsung heroes of movies.
Hmm.
The guys who are just there. There's so many big character like folk that we see, and it's like they deserve more credit than what they actually get.
I mean,
I think I remember him from and oh Christ, I can't believe I actually sat and watched all of this and almost understood everything that was going on. Was Lincoln?
the one with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes,
Yeah,
the very one about Abraham Lincoln. I almost followed what was going on in that film. It's a hard watch
yeah.
in respect of the language that is used is very of the time. It is very authentic, but it's so hard to understand the American politics when you've got people talking in a way that you can't quite grasp.
And also the fact that it is an awkward subject matter because they've accredited so much to Abraham Lincoln for the abolishment of slavery and things like that, but little do the American people know that 60 years prior we had already abolished it here in the UK, and it was primarily to do with a guy called Thomas Clarkson, and Thomas Clarkson is actually from the town that I work in, Uzbekistan, and my parents' house is named after him, the schools are named after him, the pubs are named after him.
Oh,
Thomas Clarkson had a huge part in the abolishment of slavery in the UK. So when JD Vance and his plucked eyebrows say that we are an unadvanced species of people that have never advanced in technology and done anything worthwhile,
aye.
say that 60 years prior we had abolished it, and no, we weren't responsible for it in the first place. That was the Portuguese. Thank you. TED Talk over. Good night. Bobcat Goldthwait. Let's talk about
Yes.
him, shall we?
Oh my God. When he came on screen, I went, that's not because Bobcat has a very distinct voice.
Zed.
Very distinct.
Yeah. Zed from Police Academy. That
I
is
thought you said dead. I was like, is he?
not that I know of.
No, he's not. Do you know it's so weird because his comedy partner was oh gosh, I can't remember now what his name was, but I think he's dead. I could be
Did
wrong.
um did Bobcat do a lot of SNL at one point? Or was he on some
Um,
sort of he was on some sort of comedy program, wasn't he? Like
I tell
Mad
you,
TV? I don't know. I feel like
it might have been Mad TV.
yeah.
Bobcat is I first met him in Scrooged,
Yeah.
where yeah, that's where I first met him. Um, his stand-up comedy act, no, my love, he never did he did stand up, he did his own
Yeah, I
stand up.
think it might be
Oh,
that's
okay,
what I've
so
seen.
he worked a lot with the likes of Robin Williams. So imagine Robin Williams
Right.
in the early 90s and his stand-up comedy acts that he's doing, the ones that end up going on albums, which blew my mind. The comedy album, like comedy
Yeah.
shows went on albums and they won Emmys and I was on Grammys, sorry, and I was like, what? That's a thing? That is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was part of that scene, but not
Right.
essentially a
Yeah.
a dedicated show. He actually, I'm just reading here, during the fall of '93, I'm gonna have to call him Bobcat, performed stand-up material as an opening act for Nirvana on what would be their final North American tour. He was also selected for the slot due to frontman Kurt Cobain being a fan of his comedy, and the two developed a friendship over the course of the tour. He also appeared in a promo video for the band's album In Your Tour concert, and once fooled an interviewer during a phone interview impersonating Dave Grohl. So yeah, he yeah, and at midnight on New Year's Eve, 1993, Bobcat rappelled nude from a catwalk of the stage of the Auckland Coliseum as Kurt Cobain led the countdown.
Well, I will say that that is fantastic, and the man has gone up in my estimations by another.
That is brilliant. Yeah, Bobcat is again, the voice is so. Oh my gosh, yeah, his work is inspired by like Mad TV are inspired by him.
I will say the thing about Bobcat for me was Police Academy was a massive thing in like when I was growing up. It was huge. It was yeah, it was of the same time of it wasn't the same time, but it was of the same. You had like Airplane. There was all these funny kind of like
It was. I think it's
and
very.
like,
It was spoof movies.
yeah,
Because spoof, but
yeah.
for
Steve
me,
Guttenberg became the king of those
oh,
kind of
the
movies
Goots,
for a long
man.
time.
Who doesn't love the Goots?
Yeah, and then obviously you had the characters like Marion Ramsey, who I had the pleasure to meet when I was about 14. Marion Ramsey, who played Hicks. Hicks? Yeah, I think so. She had a
I'm
very
not
high pitched voice.
not a
Um,
huge fan of the police academies.
but they held a special place. They were very much like the bully always got.
Yeah,
And and the bully was always Proctor, and he being the sidekick, and the oh god, I was going to call him Lestat. That's not right, but it's Les something. But they do, these guys come over and do shows still.
Yeah.
And that Michael Winslow forever will always be an amazement to me, Michael Winslow, and the fact that he married Mother Firefly, and Mother Firefly is in these movies.
Second mama,
Mother
not
Firefly,
Karen Black.
yeah. No,
not Karen
she's
Black.
not House of a Thousand Corpses. She's Devil's Rejects.
Yes, I saw a horror with Karen Black in when I was away for Anne's birthday. We had the horror channel, and it was like I think it was 1972. I think that's what the movie's called with Karen. I watched the whole thing. I couldn't tell you what happened. It was just something that happened on an airplane.
Well, I know her and Michael were married for a very, very long time. I don't know if they're still married now, but I know her and Michael were married. They met on the set of Police Academy and they married.
Oh, that's cute.
So...
Well, Bobcat was also in a TV show that you will recognize the cast. You might not recognize the name, though. It starred Betty White, Rue McClanahan, Estelle Getty, Don Cheadle, and Cheech Marin. It is the counterpart to the Golden Girls. It was Golden Palace, and he starred in a few episodes of that. It has
never questioned my Golden Girls knowledge.
Well, I'm on a rewatch at the minute. It's the early rewatches back up. I love that program so much, but it has Golden Palace. It's not as good because obviously B. Arthur is no longer in it. Do you know, it took me ages to realize that the B. Arthur was credited as Beatrice Arthur for the first whole series of the Golden Girls. I don't know why that blew my mind. I have no idea. But it doesn't have B. Arthur in it. I think she pops up now and again, but
she went off and married Leslie Nielsen, didn't she? So
she gone. Yes, she went off and she got the man. But it has one of my favorite scenes, and it is Rue McClanahan having the Confederate flag explained to her by Don Cheadle. Because if Golden Girls was always, and I've said this countless amount of times on any podcast that I've done, that is so progressional. These women were advocates in every sense of the word, and they would not allow jokes of a certain nature to come into their show that it didn't stand with their values, especially B. Arthur.
Oh God,
you
he
do
was
not
a huge
fuck with that woman.
I know she attended some balls as well. Some actual bulls.
Yeah.
And when I say bulls, I mean
We're
like
talking about the New York
drag
ball
bulls,
scene.
the New
Yeah.
York scene. She judged some of them at one
Yeah.
point.
She's
Um,
she is incredible. Look at that woman's mugshot from back in the day. Tell me she is not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
she actually did a lot of not directly with Stonewall, I don't think, but she had a lot to
Charity
do with
wise,
the
yeah.
charity wise around that kind of Stonewall stuff.
I think Estelle Getty ran or worked with close with an AIDS
Yeah.
charity. They all had
Rue
a
did as
hand
well.
in. Yeah, they
Uh,
all had a hand in charity work, especially around topics where nobody wanted to touch.
yeah, Betty was very, very. She the last interview I saw with Betty, she basically said, "I prefer animals over humans. You know where you are with animals because they'll never disappoint you," and uh, and I was like, "No truer word have I ever heard
Yeah,
uttered," and it's coming
yeah.
from a 99-year-old woman, and I was just like, "That's fantastic." And
These women were absolutely amazing. But that episode where where Blanche is having to have, because if you know Golden Girls, you know like Blanche is like the Southern Belle and very like and the South will rise again. Don Cheadle having to explain it to her, and her listening, accepting, acknowledging, apologizing. Like it was such brilliant. I can't believe we managed to get Golden Girls in here tonight. It helps that I'm on a rewatch as well.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait was absolutely stellar. To be honest, there's not one person in this movie, apart from maybe the fucking kid who
But
annoyed us.
can we just state the Bobcat Goldthwait didn't even play Sock Boy. It was played
No,
by somebody else. And basically he was sock puppet. He was a hand for a head that
and
had sock on
I'm
it.
looking at him right now with
And
these
he literally
eyes.
just voiced it. That was it. And
Yeah,
so I
they.
mean the cast list itself, like I say, there's people you don't know their names, but as soon as you see their faces, you go, Jesus.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's why I always like
absolutely.
to look at the cast list and see who else was in it, because these movies that we do, it's 93, which to the majority of us only feels 10 years ago, 20 years. It's not. It's 32 years ago
It's a
this film
horrible
came out.
feel, horrible feeling.
So
Um,
in 32 years, these people that were uncredited in roles or played bit parts could now be the equivalent of Keanu Reeves in
yeah.
today's movies. So, 32 years is a long time. Big
Oh,
careers for
absolutely.
people.
Well, there was a homage played out, and there's actually quite a few homages in this one, but the one that is quite noticeable is, and I'm going to say this name, I'm going to say this name, Ray Harryhausen.
Yes, I love that bit of claymation. I loved
Oh
it.
my God, was that just superb? Was that just absolutely phenomenal? I was actually taken back from it. Yeah, they pay a homage to him in this movie by using stop motion in
It's
his stylings.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the credit scene, that's all stop motion.
Mhm.
But it's done in a very artsy fartsy, like, right,
MTV, look at us. Da, 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 da,
yeah,
da.
it's very much like that. There's this scene, and I think it's when he rubs the zygote 24 or whatever it's called. This basically the gist of it, what happens is Alex Winter's character's hired to go and promote this chemical.
Which
He's
is
given $5
ridiculous.
million to go and promote this chemical in this country. So he goes, okay, 5 million, perfect, I'll go do it. Gets on the plane, goes there. And he has no idea what this stuff is. And it's promoted by a company called EES, everything except shoes, right? So you're talking Timu without shoes. This is
Yeah,
probably the equivalent, but it's run by like narcissistic, big money,
big
thirsty,
money man.
Trumpington, cheesy what's it type people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, yeah, it's just oh, and
It's
yeah, and so he rubs that Randy Quaid basically ties up him, his best mate and this girl that they've met along the way, and he Alex Winter's watching him rub it onto the two friends after he's done his little computer mock-up of what he wants to do to him. And you see them start to merge, but then it just flips into this massive like claymation montage of like a T-Rex. Then you see the Cyclops of Ray Harryhausen, and then you see like
yes, you do. You see the
yeah,
Cyclops.
and like I can't remember what else happens, but I just remember these little bits.
Oh,
It's so fast paced. It's so
yeah.
fast paced.
There's there's a lot to take in when it comes to this movie
Yeah.
because your eye doesn't really know where it wants to look half the time. Because from the take away, honestly, just take out the fact that it's not the greatest acted,
No.
it's not the greatest story. If you can take every part of that out and just look at the fucking makeup, look at the artistry that has gone into that, because it is not half-assed, and these people who worked on it are not half-assed people. Steve fucking Johnson. He did Slimer. I'm just gonna read that again. He did Slimer. Go and look at his IMDb page. It shows you pictures of him working on. He worked on American Wealth and I can't
Harris.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Wealth and Harris. Um, yeah, and it shows him working. Do you know? Remember the whole the fucking dickhead Westmore who's holding the scalpel the wrong way?
Yeah.
He isn't.
Yeah.
He's standing in front of Slimer, and he's actually, there's a photo of him and Sigourney Weaver with the
Yeah.
prop of Slimer. It's so cute. Yeah, these people have worked and not only paid their dues but created some of the most amazing masterpieces you will ever see in movie history. These are the people who are bringing the unrealistic to reality.
Yeah.
Whoa, where did that come from?
This movie gets into some strange places, and you can't it there's no point trying to make it logical because it isn't.
No,
It's
and this is
they
why we're
make a
not going through the movie for.
no. And the next thing, well, all I will say is they try to make a plan between a lot of them to escape, and they realize they don't have that option. And then Randy Quaid's character is basically looking for some more of this stuff because he wants to create more freaks. So the crazy Baron William Sadler turns up with his these board of puppets, and they all get turned into a shoe.
Yep.
And then
Dan's not lying.
no, I am not. And then there is a scene where the little troll kid turns into an actual troll. And then he fights Alex Winter, who's also a troll. But when I say trolls, they have made the prosthetics to make these two guys about 7 or 8 feet tall. They have the full-on skin suits on. I mean, like, there's no. When I say prosthetics, we saw Alex Winter with the prosthetics. No.
On the face, no.
He mutates again into a 7-foot tall, fully articulated pup. He's not a puppet. There's someone in there, but you know what I mean, like a skin. When I say skin, it's there's someone inside operating it.
Yeah. Do you know what vibes I got instantly? Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, just instantly, and I think it's more the material that's being used on, because it's very different from all. And this is probably the greatest part about the whole thing. Everything is all different. It's not one same thing. So it's not one same material that's used. What you find on Alex Winter will not be on the Worm Cow, isn't on Keanu Reeves, isn't on, they're all so different. So to have this contrast of this massive creature troll that, and it looks I'm looking at it now, it looks absolutely breathtaking.
But it's the most ridiculous looking thing you've ever seen.
Oh, it's absolutely like what the fuck is that? But if you can get past that, if you can get past the weirdness and the kookiness and the craziness and just look at the artistry, it is some of the greatest things in monster movie making. I'm gonna put that out there right now.
It is a feat of engineering, a feat of creativity that goes above. I think it deserves more respect for that side of things. Like, I do feel like it should have a re-release, because even Keanu Reeves does talk about Ortiz the dog boy when he's interviewed, and it makes him laugh every time. And people always say, he's very stone-faced, he's very serious in interviews and stuff. You bring up Ortiz, the guy laughs. It makes him smile. It makes Keanu smile.
I love listening to that man.
And Alex Winter, he's also big in Into the Darkness. He has such a profound love of the making and the writing and the sheer magic of movies that you
Yeah.
never
Oh,
realized until you sit and hear him interviewed on Into the
yeah.
Darkness.
That's such a good way of putting it. This is Alex Winter's last ever movie, as in you will see him on screen. This is the last one he ever did, because then Alex comes behind the camera and does one of the greatest, I think I've mentioned this before, one of the greatest documentaries ever. Like, is my camera turned on? Yeah, about the dark web.
Yeah.
And again, something that he worked with Keanu on, because Keanu does but yeah, this is the last feature film with him as an actor.
Well, you say that, but he did Bill and Ted 3, didn't he?
Fuck off, I forgot about that.
He did Bill and
This
Ted
is
3.
this is the
Now,
last one before he then does Bill and Ted 3.
yeah, I have no opinions on that, so we'll just leave that where it's supposed to be, which is in the bin.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
needed, but I feel like the money was given and
We
it
were
was,
going through a really shit time, if you remember. The world was in a shitter, and
yeah, and
hey,
we
if that
needed
was something,
something familiar, and this is
yeah,
what it gave us.
we got the Wild Stallions, and I'm cool with it. What it is, it will not take away from the fact that the second one is probably my favorite out of all of them anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to beat God Gave Rock and Roll to You. Sorry.
You sunk my battleship. It's the only. Oh my god, yeah, and the Star Trek bit. This is not off that. This is off Cable Guy, but they had the bit with the. I'll stop. I'll stop. Did you do it?
I did it.
Did you do the 666 separation degrees of Jake?
I did. I did. This film, I highly recommend you go watch. There are uncut and cut versions out there. There is
Yeah.
an 8-minute long, the normal version. That's the one with all the cut scenes, and it's yeah. Go watch it. Just if
Please.
you are someone who loves special effects makeup, how it's done,
Yeah. You're gonna appreciate. You are so gonna appreciate this,
and you can keep up with this film, watch it.
Chris. If you're listening, watch it. I'm telling you, mate, you're gonna absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm not giving you anything in this bloody
Oh, that
this one
was
to cut.
that was I haven't even used that on social media yet.
I
I'm
did. So
keeping that in the back
thanks
pocket.
thanks for the content, Chris. Thanks.
He will do it. Right. 666 separation of Jake. Don't know if that's still the right title.
We'll go with that. The Butthole Surfers featured heavily on the Freaked soundtrack, but also featured in the 1996 Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet soundtrack, in which
Really?
John Leguizamo played Tybalt, as we well know. And I will say, I fell in love with him in this. There was something about what they had.
Who? John Leguizamo.
Yeah. And then John also played Chi-Chi in 1995's Tu Wong Fu alongside Wesley Snipes and Patrick Swayze. Patrick was in The Outsiders with Matt Dillon. Yeah. Matt Dillon was in 2013's Porn Show Chronicles with Vincent D'Onofrio, who played Thor in Adventures in Big.
D'Onofrio. I forget he's Thor, because Anthor was pointing out.
He didn't. He played Dawson, but I will always and forever call him Thor.
Call him Thor. Yeah. Oh, you did it. That was good.
I mean, there was an easy way to do it. His name was Ricky Coogan, and Keith Coogan played Brad. But I thought that was a bit quick, so I was like,
yeah.
I
feel like you need. I feel like you've done so many now where you're stretching them, like you are making them like. Can she actually finish it?
There's got to be a thing. Like I say, the fact that the Butthole Surfers, I wasn't going to go with the character this time because I thought the Butthole Surfers did a song on the Romeo and Juliet, and I listened to that religiously growing when that film came out. And it was called Whatever I Had a Dream was the song that it did, and it was called I Had a Dream Last Night. I could even hear it in my head. That song was the Butthole Surfers, and then obviously with John, and then John in that time was breaking every kind of rule with Wesley and with Patrick. They were just like.
Did you? I watched an interview with him recently. Did you hear how he lost the weight for that movie?
I want to say I've seen this, but I can't remember the conversation.
He was vegan.
That was it. He became really ill.
Yeah, he became vegan and became incredibly ill because he's a terrible vegan.
Yeah,
I can sympathize with that.
I remember now you said that. Yeah, he said somebody told him to go vegan, so he ditched meat, and it made him really tiny. And then
Really
he had to
tiny.
bulk up really quickly for Romeo and Juliet because he had to be
Oh, that
incredibly.
suit.
There was something about that. I will say Baz Luhrmann for me. Say what you want about Sprout Face DiCaprio, but there's something about the way Baz Luhrmann styles a movie.
It's beautiful.
The two films for me that you will never be able to remake in any which way other than Baz's style would be Romeo and Juliet, the way he did it, and Moulin Rouge. They're like a feast for the brain and the eyes to watch because everything is so well thought out. And with the Romeo and Juliet, the amount of iconography that they have in it, everything
Oh,
about that. The guns had the Santa Maria
oh.
and the Virgin Marys, and the
And
clothing was all embroidered, and the way that their hair was, that
if
everything had been thought out. You know,
yeah, the
so
costume in that is just mwah. It's
so cleverly
perfect.
done, and
But that's Baz.
but to see John go from effeminate drag queen,
Yeah.
why are you crying, little Latin boy in drag, to um to this masculine
Baz.
guy that fires guns, and then also when he's in Spawn and he's the
Oh
oh
my God,
God,
he's demon?
he's the demon in it, but I can't remember what he's called. It's like the despoiler, he's got the, oh no, I'm gonna get
Ugh.
shot down for that, but it's not that, but
No,
it's
you will
like
not.
that.
You will
Um,
not. Yeah, I love him so much. But Baz, for me is, and I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but Elvis, the Elvis movie.
yeah,
I'm an
certainly.
Elvis fan. It's done. It just if it's beautiful.
I
It's
just struggle with Austin
beautiful.
Butler. There's something about Austin
I
Butler that
understand.
puts me off.
I can understand that.
Hated him in June. He made me want to turn off in June.
No, I loved him. I thought this was perfect for him. I was like, yes. Do you say June or Dune?
I don't know what I just said, but I'll say it again. June.
Oh, damn it. I said Dune. But apparently
Oh,
I'm
I think
saying it wrong. No, I'm saying it wrong, apparently.
well, no,
Apparently it's
because
pronounced June, like San
depends.
June.
Yeah, yeah, depending on where you come from. I just presume that's how it's sort of pronounced. I just say
No,
June. I don't know how
no.
it comes out of my mouth is how I'm saying it. All right,
Yeah,
like
I always say Dune because it's how it looks in front of us, and dyslexic. We have to go with what we work with. You know what I mean? Right, next week.
mm,
Next week. It's gonna be a good one.
gonna be
It's
good.
gonna be good.
Gonna be good.
Um, we're going back to the cursed movies. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't want to say thoroughly enjoyed because the subject matters that we talked about in that were pretty fucking grim, but we did enjoy the aspect of looking at the cursed movies in Hollywood, and we're going to do another with one of my favorites, potentially one of Dan's favorites. We're going with The Crow.
We are going to tackle this the way we did with the cursed movie Poltergeist that we did. We're going to look at the movie in a way, but it's not going to be the same way as we talk about it in our normal podcast.
No.
With the curse movies, we talk about the curses that follow the films, the way it's affected the actors, the way it's had. If we can dispel anything with research, we will try our best to. If you think something happened, like if there's something about the Crow that you want looking into that you don't believe is true, comment below. Let us know. We will look into it because we want to look at these cursed movies and give our opinion. Our opinion means dick in the grand scheme of things. We're not changing anybody's mind here. But with the Poltergeist one, it got responded to so well because the biggest question is it really cursed? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves at the end of each one of these movies that we review for the cursed movies. So
Yeah.
if you have something you think, a conspiracy that you'd heard that doesn't involve the obvious, because obviously the whole Brandon Lee thing,
There's
we will talk about that, but
yeah.
anything that you've heard that doesn't necessarily have that specific bit involved, please let us know because I'm really curious to find out what other people think has made it a cursed movie as well.
No, that's yeah, and I'll put this in the Nerdy Up North Discord as well. And I'll put it into Monsters Up North Instagram as well because that's a really good question. I
Yeah.
love that question because and I think I said this to Dan before we came on. there is so many things that like so many rumors and so many misconceptions of this movie. And
Yeah.
I want to preference this right now. We're not doing the fucking franchise.
No, you're not going to see anything with Mr. Sarsgaard in it.
Oh no, good God, no.
And we are not doing City of Angels 2 or whatever the bloody second was.
It's City of Angels and then
Yeah.
Salvation. Yeah, no, we
Electric
just
Boogaloo, City of Angels 2. Yeah, we're not doing it.
I like it. But again, I just like Vincent Perez. He played Queen of the Damned. He played you know, hello David.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just heard
Yeah, I know
hello,
what you heard.
Dave.
I know what you heard.
Oh God.
He's not allowed on telly
Oh,
anymore.
no. This is a local town for local people.
That's where I live. I'm from
Yeah.
Royston Vesey. We literally have a sign that says local town, local people.
Hello, Dave. You're my
Yeah.
wife now.
Ah. Yeah, so we're doing The Crow, but that's such a great thing to put into next week if people do want to like kind of ask what they've heard, ask anything in the comments, in the Discord, on the Instagram pages. Hit us up.
Yeah, and if it proves to be something that works, if you genuinely want us to cover some of these points you've heard, and if it's something that works in the cursed movies kind of guys, every time we do a cursed movie, we'll put it out to you the week before in the podcast and ask you guys what you think you've heard, and then if we can
Dispel
look into
it,
those points or even dispel it, like you say, or if we can find out anything about it to see whether it's true or not. Kind of help everybody out a little bit. That's what we're here for.
People should know. Me and Dan love a bit of research.
Oh yeah.
So we're not scared to do it. So and we're not bothered about doing it. We'll love a good read, or a good YouTube video that can kind of come in helpful when you've had a busy week.
Yes.
Good YouTube video.
Play.
Right. So we are on the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel. Our episodes hit every Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning. So remember, hit the notification bell so you are notified that the episode has gone live. However, if you don't want to see this and that, you can actually come and join us later on in the afternoon when the audio gets put up from anywhere you get your podcasts from. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, and Nerdy Up North are where, Dan?
Well, they're down there, aren't they?
Down there.
Down there.
I've noticed recently I have been talking more with my hands because they are my nails, by the way. They're not fakesies, they're mine, but they are long. And I'm like, look, on top of my hands again. I can do that too.
And Dolly Parton now.
I can do that too. And they're my real ones. I shouldn't do that, actually. I've got actual nail varnish on, it'll start chipping off. What else?
That's it.
Fuck off, is it?
It is.
Oh my God. Okay. By the way, that was probably the best outro I've ever done. Just putting it out there.
When she says fuck off, is it? Yeah. Signs off all of our podcasts for your first few reads.
I can never get the end right. And I feel like I've just messed it up now by doing all of this. So, if there's nothing else left to say goodbye, Dan.
I wonder if they're still casting Gremlins 3. Bye!
Stay spooky, everyone. Bye!